What's up, my people? I hope you're having a fantastic day. And today we're going to be talking about giving your child a smartphone, basically. So, the last bullshitting 101 session I was having with Saima and Sab, we were talking about raising your kids and giving them smartphones when they're young. And Saima was completely like, yeah, we should definitely give them smartphones. They definitely deserve that shit. So, she was like, depending on the circumstances. What these circumstances are, God only knows what these circumstances are. But according to her, she felt like, based on the circumstances and the situation, if the kid is going to school or not, we need to give this kid a phone. If you actually really think about this, I kind of feel like, why are we putting what our kids think they need first? This is a child. This child does not know what it wants. That's why it has a parent. When we were kids, we never had any say in how things were done. It was the adults that made the decisions for us because we were children, we were young, we were incapable of making these decisions. And you're telling me, Saima, this is for you. You're telling me that I'm supposed to wait for my child to tell me what he or she thinks, and then I will act on those thoughts. And I feel that is a really wrong way to raise a child, because if you look at the kids today, a kid today, and this is realistic. This is actually happening today in today's society. A kid can literally just come up to the parents and say, I think I'm a girl. I think I'm a boy. And then they act on those thoughts. And it's messed up, those feelings actually, and it's really messed up. And this is what we're encouraging. And I think this is really wrong. When you and we were growing up, we're the millennials. When we were growing up, we never had any thoughts because we never had any say in the way things were done, because we were kids. We didn't know how to make any decisions. That's why we're kids. That's why we're called kids. That's why there's an age of consent regarding alcohol and marriage and sex and all these kind of things, because the law understands, biology understands that kids are not capable of making these decisions. I feel like if a child is living under my roof, first of all, I'm the guardian, I'm the parent, I am the adult. I'm supposed to make the logical decisions. I'm not supposed to be waiting for my child to tell me what they think, and then I will then act on those thoughts or feelings. And that is completely wrong. And you can see what's happening in society today when we allow our kids to act on their thoughts and feelings. When I think about it, this is a child. A child is going to throw tantrums. It's going to lay down on the floor when it sees an amazing toy on the shelf when you're in the supermarket, and it's going to tell you, I want you to buy me this toy. And I feel like in this generation, the parenting that we're trying to do is really wrong and broken. All of these things need to be earned. You need to teach this child that you need to either behave, or you need to do your assignments on time, or complete your assignments on time, sleep on time. If you behave well, you will then be rewarded. But what we're doing now is like, your child comes to you and just tells you, hey, I feel like I want to have a new phone because it's required for my assignments. You're like, yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. Now, Saima's counteractive point was you can block out explicit sites. Let me tell you something. You don't really need to go that far to see explicit content. The way the internet works these days is like, it's very easy for your child to just get onto some random website that you have no idea even exists, and then they're talking to some adults. We were brought up without these devices. How is it that we are alive today and we are surviving today and we are still able to manage? At a touch of a button, we have so much information, and it is really scary that we can just give this information to our kids. When we were growing up, you and we did not have access to all this kind of when I'm saying you and I'm talking to Saima here. You and we didn't have this kind of access to all this information, and we still made it. We were still able to pass our exams. We were still able to learn what was necessary in schools, based on the subject. If you give your kid today a smart device and you tell them to go and Google what they're supposed to Google, they'll end up 9 times out of 10, they will end up Googling something else, or whatever they're reading on will give them a link to something else, and then that will then take them down that wormhole of information that is completely unnecessary. And the thing is, kids are like sponges. They absorb this information like crazy. So you can't freaking sit over there and tell me, yeah, I can give my kid a smart device because it's their exams and we're working from home. Forget about COVID. COVID was a completely different scenario, use case, because that was something that was completely unexpected. It was a pandemic. People had to. That's not the norm. When you give COVID and staying at home because of the pandemic and an example, that is not the norm. That was an edge case. Today, every kid is back to school. Every kid is going to has access to physical books and is able to go to the classrooms and is going to the libraries and stuff. Why do they freaking need a smartphone? Why are we giving them access to the internet? It is mental. I kind of feel like they do not need access to all this information. The other point that I wanted to counteract, and you were talking about, okay, fine, if we deny our kids these smart devices or whatever device that they see in the schools, and we deny these devices, and the kid comes home and starts acting rebellious and stuff, let that freaking kid throw a tantrum. I don't give a shit, man. This kid is living under my roof. I am the freaking owner of this house. I am the parent. I am the adult. This kid can throw a freaking fit all at once. I'm going to ground this child. I'm going to take away even more things, because how the hell is this kid going to learn? That's bullshit. That's not how I was brought up, right? Dare I even went to my dad and told him that I needed a freaking PlayStation. I think PlayStation 1 had come out at that time. I could not say it, because I felt like if I needed something like that, I would have to either really do really well in my exams or something, or I'd have to, do some chores around the house, or, just do something really amazing in order for me to qualify to get that one item or gadget or whatever, a toy or whatever it is, right? There has to be some consequences to your actions. You can't just sit over there acting all entitled and then there's no repercussions. There's no, someone telling you hey, you can't freaking talk like this to your parents. You can't behave like this in front of your parents. Right? Because at the end of the day, they're taking care of you. You're under their roof. Everything that you have at that point in time as a child is because of them, right? So you can't just sit there and be like, oh, how dare they tell me not to do this? How dare they? And if they allow you to do that, then they're not doing their job as parents. Teaching your child to restrain from something that is not a necessity wouldn't kill them. It just won't. They will get over it. At the end of the day, this is a freaking child. You can just wave another candy thing or another shiny object in front of them, and then that's it. They've completely distracted from what they were looking at before. Today they'll want a new iPhone, and then tomorrow it's going to be a keyboard, and then the day after that it's going to be a new laptop. It's just because of feelings and curiosity. But you need to be the better judge. You are their parent and their guardian. You need to make that decision for them and say, you know what? I don't think that this is the right thing for you, because I know how you... No one knows your child better than you as the parent. So, okay, here's the thing. Your child is going to go out there into the world, into the schools and whatever, and he's going to be exposed to other kids that have gadgets and things. It's inevitable, right? So if they get to see other people with things that they don't have, and then they come home and ask you as the parent, hey, can you give me this thing? And then you tell them, yeah, okay, I can buy it for you. What are you teaching that child? That, okay, they deserve everything. They're entitled to everything. They can just ask for whatever they want, and then the world will give it to them. But that's not how it is in real life. You and I as adults, we go out in the world and we see millions of people, not millions of people, but we see the top 10% of men driving Lamborghinis and Porsches and all this kind of stuff. We don't go, who do we go to say, hey, can we have this? You go to your boss and say, hey, I think I deserve this much money because I saw another person with a Lamborghini, so you need to be paying me Lamborghini money. What the frick hell is wrong with you? You see? Okay, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was your parents need to be on the same page when you're teaching your kids something. And I think this is the mistake that most parents are doing these days, is I feel like one parent will be really lenient and then the other parent will be extremely strict. Like me, I know I'm going to be extremely strict because I want to instill a strong ethics and morale and discipline in my child. I don't want them to be brought into this world feeling like they're entitled. I want them to learn to earn. I want them to feel like they do not deserve things, they need to earn things. And if my wife is going to be extremely lenient with my child, what impression is that going to do on the child? The child is going to walk up to to the mom's going to be like, yeah, we can definitely buy you this toy. Then the same child comes to me and says, hey, can you give me the money for this toy? And then I'll be like, no, you can't have that. But then the kid will be like, no, but my mom said that I could buy it, so you need to give me the money. So both parents are not on the same page when they're parenting and teaching this child something. And what it does is it overrides what the other parent says. Your daughter is 9 years old and you're the mom, and she comes up to you and says, hey, can I go to this sleepover with my friends? And then you say yes, and then she goes to her dad and asks the same question, and the dad is like, no, you cannot go. There's the freaking conflict. You see? That the next time she wants to do something or wants something, she'll know, oh, I need to just ask my mom, and I think that should be more than enough. I don't need to go to my dad because he's just going to say no. And that's overriding now that power. And I feel like that makes the child feel like, okay, you know what? I can get away with anything, and I know who to go to get something, which is like, what the freaking hell are you guys doing? That's completely failed parenting. I feel like you as a parent, you need to have a discussion with your partner before you go to your child and say yes or no. If your child comes up to you and says, hey, do you think I should buy this? Be like, okay, I'll have a talk with daddy, or I'll have a talk with mommy, and then I'll get back to you, okay? I think that to me makes more sense, because at least both of you parents, you have to be on the same page when you're disciplining your child. Okay, the last point that I wanted to make was, the more tools and technology and gadgets and whatnot you want to give your child, I feel like that will just give that child more access to abuse that tool. So why don't we just limit the amount of gadgets and tools that we're giving our kids these days? Because kids are curious, they are like a sponge. Their minds are like a sponge. They're just going to absorb all information that they can get their hands on. And the minute you give them something, they're just going to be like, okay, how can I make use of this thing in such a way that I can make it do what I want it to do? You give a child a bike, next thing you know, they're jumping off a cliff, or they're riding and doing stunts downstairs. You give a child a car and they're over speeding, they want to break the law, they want to speed and do drive-bys and all that other nonsense. So if we can just limit the amount of gadgets and tools that we can give them access to, it will be a better way to control what they can do and what they can't do. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you learned something. I hope this made sense. I hope this whole video makes sense. Let me know what you guys think. And this is going to be like a really new way of uploading stuff. I don't know. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to figure out if I should still be doing these kind of videos, this kind of like layout and stuff, just for the general talks. And then maybe if we have like live sessions, we'll go back to the other format. At least you can see the live chats and stuff. Okay, before I go, I just want to thank each and every one of you guys. 167 subs. I cannot appreciate you guys enough. You guys are amazing. I salute you guys, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.